Okay, so I have the carburetor off, and you can see I'm just about ready to pull the manifold off and do the intake seals. Looks to me like the gap in here is pretty good, so these cylinders are clocked properly for the manifold, so that's a good sign. So I'm going to take off these clamps next. We'll get the manifold off and we'll inspect those seals and see what they look like. Looks like these things are different size, I think. That one's 3/8. That one looks like it might be 7/16. Well, that seal just came off in here. Okay. They don't look great. We got electrical tape. That's a trick sometimes people do. These manifolds look to be in relatively good shape, or the intake ports seem to be in relatively good shape, I guess. So we've got, I don't know, a bunch of crap on this. Looks like it's not in great shape. It feels dried out. This one maybe looks a little bit better. So, and I got some kind of sealer that's been put on these. That's not a great sign. All right, let me see how well these line up. There's a little bit of a gap there, but it actually doesn't look too bad. So there's a little bit of a gap in there, so if I was going to take the engine completely apart, I could clock it a little bit better, but it actually doesn't look too bad. Split the difference there, and that's not crazy. So I think we're going to be okay there. So the seals themselves, you can see how this one's a little beat up, and I don't know what the heck all the goop is on here that they use to try and seal it. And you can see it's a little crushed in there. So hopefully replacing these will help. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and clean all this stuff up. Maybe a little steel wool, get the electrical tape off of here, and then see if we can get the seals installed so that they seal up nice, and maybe I can get this to run without the choke. Okay, so we are kind of back where I left it, in the middle of our intake seals project. So with a rag in there, covering everything up. You can see I've cleaned it up pretty good in there, and I've got this thing cleaned up pretty good. And I've got my new seals ready to go. I've watched some YouTube videos, so we're going to hopefully do this not too many times. I'm sure there's going to be some fiddly work going on in here. Hopefully I can do this without bleeping out too much. It won't be too much swearing, hopefully. Looks like the most difficult part is going to be getting these back around after everything's in place without a helper. So I'm going to take this completely apart, open these all the way up, and hopefully I can slide these around. So it seems like it's going to be a little fiddly. We'll give her a try here. What we'll do here is we're going to put this on up here. When this is in place, I'll just roll that down. Okay, now I'm going to try and pop this thing in there. I'm going to see how well it holds itself, if it even does, on there while I try to get these clamps around, which seems somewhat unlikely to go smoothly. I'm going to say unlikely to go smoothly. It's about my most optimistic prediction here. So, get this up. in place. Roll the seals down in place. It does seem to kind of hold itself. Probably going to come popping off of there at some inopportune moment. Let's hope it doesn't. Starting with our front clamp. So this was in this orientation here last time when I took it off. So I'm going to hold this in place. And yeah. Get that nut on. Spin that back around. Alright, this one looks significantly more difficult to deal with. I don't know why it doesn't want to. Give it a little bit of assembly lube in here, maybe. Trying to hold the manifold on with my fingertips. Yeah, oh, I dropped the manifold out. Both sides. Alright, that's a fail. We got both seals out, manifolds out, whole thing failed. Okay, trying again. So that back clamp is going to be, that's going to be the sticking point right there. It's like up into that back clamp. I'll clean everything back off again. Holding the manifold in place. Try to wrap the back. And everything falls apart. Okay. So, we're going to do this bloody impossible clamp. This is definitely not the same as the front one. This is different. This clamp it's got a longer tail on it, which makes it harder to get it back around and through here. Right? It's going to be impossible, is what I think. I think it's going to be impossible. I just don't think there's any chance I'm going to do it. So actually what I think I'm going to end up doing here is bending this so that it's curved. So that's what I'm going to go and do right now. I'm going to go put some nuts on this thing and I'm going to bend it. Okay, as you can see, I have put in a relative, well, somewhat less than subtle bend in this guy all the way down into the threads here. So now, when I need to line this up, maybe it won't be so catastrophic of an angle there. So we're going to try this again. Now I've got that front band still holding, and it seems relatively solid. So hopefully I'll be able to get this on there now. I believe it was on this way, so we're going to go ahead. This is lower now, so this part is harder. Okay. Clamp is around. Try to get the threads into place here. We're close. We're close. I think I might need to put just a little bit more of a bend in it. So I'm going to go do that because I'm tired of fighting. Alright, so now I've got even a little bit more severe of a bend in there, so hopefully that's enough. I hope that's enough. Alright, we're going to try it. This thing seems to still be holding solid, so get the clamp on there. It's starting to tighten up. So that was the trick. Put a bend in that thing. That was the trick to do. Get that thing with a little bend in it, and then you can get it round. I like the clamp on the front way better. It was a shorter stud on it, and it was a shorter tail on the clamp, so it seemed like that made things a little bit easier. Wow, the front's really tight. Looks like all the gap ended up on the back. I guess that's not a surprise since I tightened the front clamp up first. Although I don't feel a big gap anywhere in there, so that's pretty good. So she's tight. So let's see. Okay, so now carburetor going back.
Okay, just going to kind of speed through the reassembly of the carburetor and the backing plate and all that stuff and move on to trying to start it.
Alright, there is everything mounted back and hopefully not leaking. So the question is now, will she start? Alright, ignition on, choke is on. Good oil pressure there. That's a good sign. No change. No change. That's a good sign. Good oil pressure. All right, so I'm going to call that a success. It seems like spraying a little bit of the starter fluid up here. When you saw me spray up into the manifold area there, I got no change in. I'm going to turn the fuel off while I don't forget, before I forget. I got no change in the RPMs when I sprayed the starter fluid up at the manifold here. So I am going to call that seal replacement a success. Yeah, so it does, it started right up. I didn't need to squirt anything in there or anything. It just, it started up once I got fuel down to the carburetor. The good thing about this is, with the seals done and the ability to start this thing up pretty much at will, I can get this off the lift and put the Sportster on here and do the primary work I need to do, which is to get the primary cover off and replace that that adjuster for the chain tension, because I think that's what's going on now and there. After the last video where I did the adjustment and did the oil change there, I started it up and it sounded like hell in there still. So I think that the little plastic or nylon boot that's on that adjuster just wore through, and that's probably why there was so much slack in the chain. So now we need to do the adjuster on that thing. So that's going to be the next thing, hopefully coming up soon. So yeah, I'm going to call that a success, and we're going to move on.